and some nervous faces on the start line right now. Look, we've seen it a few times today. There's a no break rule throughout this carnival, and not just for the youth. It goes across Masters and the Opens as well. So it's the last thing they have to get right before the race begins. Hopefully we see no breaks here, because it's heartbreaking what we have seen so far today. A few boys wanted to push the field down a little bit, they're shoulder to shoulder. If you're down the other end, you don't want to give them an inch. You want to make sure that you've got the best run of it. So a few last minute words being exchanged. Clubs, caps from every club in the country, and they are off in the under 14 male surf race final.
And this is where it's going to be so interesting. It's such a sprint. We're going to have a lot of specialist swimmers in the mix as well. Wanda took a tumble down there. That looks to be maybe, is that a Northcote cap? The pure white on the left-hand side. What a beautiful Gold Coast skyline shot right now, showing the backdrop and the chop that these competitors are going to have to contend with.
It really puts it in perspective, doesn't it, Jen, just how bumpy this water is. We saw the havoc that it played on the board, trying to get that board running nice and smoothly. The swim, it's a whole other story, bouncing up and down. Jen, what are these boys trying to think as they make their way out through that gutter? How do you try and find your rhythm in water like this?
Honestly, this is just a sprint right now. When it's an Aussie final, you are just trying to get to that first cap cleanly. You're trying to find your own water, but also make sure you're not blowing all your cookies just to get to that first one. You want to be able to settle into your own stroke rate pretty quickly. You can see Northcliffe out the front at the moment, just really starting to control the race, and that's the mark of an amazing competitor right there. If you can look this comfortable at this stage of an Aussie final, you've got some confidence in your skills and your speed, knowing that when you come around that last can, that's when you put the motor down.
Yeah, that's right. So our leading competitors of this under 14 men's surf race final are already making their way towards that first string of 9. The red and yellow can is where they'll turn from left to right. And you're right, Jen, there's not a whole lot of swimming from that end of that run to really that can, so it is all about just going absolutely hell for leather. And one of our swimmers has done that. He is 2 body lengths clear already at this point in the race as he turns and goes out towards the string of 4, the black and white.
And that's absolutely crazy when the race is this short. The fact that he's been able to put this distance on the rest of the field so quickly and looking so relaxed. He's got a beautiful long stroke rate. You can see how calm he looks compared to that chase pack where we've got white water just flying everywhere because they're jostling for position. They know the second can's coming. They're trying to line it up with 8 of their closest friends immediately around them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Now, it isn't like on the board where you can turn and get pushed and catch the run of the swell all the way back in, but you can milk that assistance, can't you? Even
absolutely.
When you're swimming.
And you feel the waves start to lift underneath you as well, and they'll start to feel it as they come through, especially because the waves are breaking a little bit further out. It's not going to be enough power in there. There won't be enough power in there to actually allow them to pick up the wave, but they'll get a lift, they'll bring in their kick, the same way that you'd lift your rating on a ski. But I tell you what, this is Northcliffe start to finish right now. This is incredible.
So we've seen how important it is to get that line right on the way out with the sweep. What are we looking at on the way back in? Because with the setting sun, there's plenty of glare for these guys as they try and pick out those finishing flags on the beach. It's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah, we thought we'd add another layer of difficulty to the races this afternoon when the boys are so tired, and we're going to say, yeah, let's put the sun just in a really difficult position right now. You can tell a lot of them, they would have done some prep with their coaches ahead of time. They would have lined up the last can with the finishing flags and said, okay, let's find a high point to look for. Let's find a hotel, a palm tree, whatever, some sort of distinctive landmark. But I tell you what, Northcliffe is not having it all his own way right now. On the side to him, there's a few more that are starting to come through, and those runners. And
that's a really great example of what you spoke about just then, Jen, because although we can't quite pick out that cap yet, actually, I think I can. I think that's Cooks Hill, and we have seen this man at the front of most under 14 races so far today, but getting a nice lift, it's almost like catching a body surf for just a little bit, getting a little milk from it and trying to keep that momentum going, because now it's a race in, well, I was going to say a race in 2, but
there's a few more in it right now, aren't there?
There's no waves that have come through yet, and that opens the door for those trailing behind. So anything could happen as our swimmers make their way back in this under 14 surf race final. A lift on the body wave, but no relief. It is coming down to the wire, and there is a wave building out the back now, Jen.
This is where it gets interesting. Can our competitors, you can see they saw the wave. 2 of them are going to fall down now. That looks to be, I want to say, Walker from Cooks Hill, Northcliffe in the mix as well. 3rd position is anybody's right now. Who wants a spot on the podium? But it's Walker, the first to his feet. He's trying to stay up there as much as he can. Liam Sidwell, you've corrected me. I'm sorry. Cooks Hill is probably screaming at me right now.
I'm sure they're screaming for him to get up and running as well, because this race is coming down to the wire. It's Northcliffe in 1. He's about to hit that dry sand, and I think that might be enough for our man from Northcliffe. They've got so many in the final. We'll bring you that name as soon as we know it. Powering across the line, unbelievable speed to take out the under-14 surf race title of Australia.
That is fantastic, and what a wonderful way to finish 1 and 2 across the beach. They're going to chase hard. Who's going to get there? It looks to be that's 3, 4 and 5 coming through. And remembering at the Australian Championships, we do pay points down to 6th position. So the competitors who are coming through 3, 4, 5, 6, they know that they're also racing for their club for that overall point score.
Jen, we've been calling it the under-14 surf race final. I think they might have just thrown the 15s on the line.
Oh no.
It's hard for us to get a bearing of exactly what's happening right here, but that looks to be, well, we very clearly know that is Northcliffe with the gold medal around his neck from what could be the under-15 surf race final. We've just seen a few under-14 surf race results flash up on the screen, and that is not what we've been looking at. So we will get you that result as soon as we do know it. In fact, no one on the beach knows better than Harold. Harold, what race are we watching and who has won it?
This is Kalani Creech. He's the under-15 Australian surf champion. Unbelievable effort.
Yeah, I'm really happy with it. Hard race, a lot shorter than the finals.
So that dropping tide, being 7'3", going through the bank, obviously it's nice and easy to get those legs out. But knowing you had this guy chasing behind you, how much punishment was that last little bit coming through?
Oh, that last bit was real hard. Sorry, I was going to get jacked at the end there. Wasn't really catching waves. And these guys right on my tail, so pretty happy with it.
And obviously, same as the guys with New South Wales, Queensland state titles cancelled. Talk us through the last 4 weeks of training you've done there at Northcliffe.
Oh, I've been doing a bit of training, around 8 to 9 sessions per week. Been in the pool a lot too.
A lot of pool work, which means you are now the Australian champion. Anyone you need to thank?
Thanks for parents and my coaches. That's it, yeah.
Too easy, how good's that? Kalani Creech, your Australian under-15 surf champion.